Hey guys, it's Chris here back with another video. Now, I wanted to talk about something that I don't normally do on this channel, leaks. And no, I'm not talking about leaks in the roof. Okay, bad joke. But I like to keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on with the music tech world. And you naturally hear rumors of what's going on with different developments and things like that. Well, I found out a biggie in terms of live PA leaks. And I want to chat about it just now because it's got me very interested. So just to give you a little bit of context first, aside from being a keys player and a choir conductor, I'm also a sound engineer and I work with loads of bands doing the sound for them. So I bring in my rig and they just rock in, plug in and do the thing. Now my mixing console of choice for almost 10 years now has been the PreSonus Studio Live. I started out with the RM16AI and then I moved on to the Studio Live 32R when it came out around 8 or 9 years ago. Now, I love this console because it packs a lot of punch in a really small form factor. 32 ins, 16 outs, 64 by 64 AVB, audio interface, the whole thing, and it fits in a 2U rack unit. It's more than paid itself off by now, and I flipping love it. However, a recent development by Behringer has got me looking the other way for the first time. Now, if you know PA systems and mixing consoles, then you will definitely be aware of the Wing console. It was released in late 2019, and the Wing made a massive splash because it had this crazy big, like Star Trek design and insane channel count. Well, source count. We'll talk about that another time. But my church decided to get one because they had an X32 and it seemed like a really logical step up. So I got the pleasure of being able to mix sound on it several times within the church context, and I've also played keys through it as well. So I really, got to know it and I quite like it. Now, the kind of work I do means that having a massive console like the Wing isn't really practical because I'm normally doing weddings, choir concerts, basically anything that needs to set up and tear down quickly, and I need that portability because of that. So hence why I've always had the rack-based mixing console. Now, here's where I finally get to my point. Behringer have been teasing an extended range of products within the Wing category, and it seems that they're almost ready to actually launch the first of these new products. So I want to talk about it today. Now, just to get this off of my chest, what I talk about today isn't official. It's certainly not sponsored. I don't have Behringer's permission to make this video. But crucially, I'm not just making rumors up. I'm not just putting stuff out into the ether. This is all things that have been released by Behringer themselves or accidentally released by another music website. So, what am I meaning? Towards the end of actually 2 weeks ago now, an online music retailer accidentally released spec info about two new products in the Behringer lineup, the Wing Compact and the Wing Rack. Both of these products have been teased by Behringer before, but nobody had seen actual specs listed. So let's have a look at some actual pictures that have been released through different sources. Okay, so first up here, we've got, this is a verified real photo from a Behringer technician in their labs, apparently. This was found on a Facebook group. So it's just interesting to look at this form factor here. This is obviously the compact that we're looking at here, and you can see the standard SD recorder player interface there. That's actually an expansion card, and you can get AVB, you can get Dante or MADI cards, things like that, to slot right in, and they'll just integrate and work, which is really cool. Now, what's really interesting is this form factor, the compact, looks to me like it would definitely fit on top of a rack unit. So you get lots of mixers that are made to go and sit on the top of a rack unit. Great for DJs, great for bands who need to do their own sound and things like that, and still want a physical interface to actually move faders and things like that. So that would be really cool. And you also, it looks like you've got, I'm going to say 24 inputs here because I can see a 17 here. So we've got 1 through 8, 9 through 16, I think, and then 17 through 24 in the bottom there. And there's more connections, I'm going to say connections at the back there as well. well, I'll tell you in a minute because I do know exactly what's going on here. So I'm going to flip to the next picture. In the next picture, I think this is a fabricated photo. Firstly, the reason I think that is because of the way this writing is on the wing compact at the top. If you go back to the other picture, look at that, wing compact there, where the compact is the typeface matches up with the bottom of the lettering on the wing, whereas on this picture, the typeface of compact matches up with the top of the lettering of the word wing. I know that's a silly thing to pay attention to, but it's just something like that that says, I don't think this is quite accurate here. But it gives you a visual representation of what the surface could look like. So keep that there with you. Now, the next thing we've got is the actual rack unit. Now, this is a real verified picture and was teased by Behringer themselves. So they've decided to release this picture, which is really cool. So they've obviously taken a leaf out of the original X32 rack and they've kind of just added steroids, really. This is definitely bigger. And if I flip to another picture, not that one, this one, you can see you've got 1, 2, 3 banks of connections. They look like inputs. And then you've got some outputs at the back there. So 24 mic pre's, 8 XLR outputs. And then look, I can see some TRS jacks there as well. And you've got your expansion slot. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4U. That's pretty big. But I'm going to read you some specs in a second, which I think you might get quite excited about. But just go back to this picture here. So we can see the X32 rack always had a screen, but it wasn't a touch screen. So they've obviously implemented the big 10.1-inch touchscreen that was in the Wing Big Boy console, which will be really cool. And we're going to talk a lot more in depth about this in the future. I want to get to these specs because it's just insane. So I'm going to start with the compact because I didn't actually get a screenshot from the website where this was linked. I found this on a Facebook group, but this is the actual bullet points of what the compact will have. And look, straight off the bat, we can see 24 Midas Pro mic preamps and 8 outputs provide industry reference sound quality. And then this is interesting, 13 motorized 100mm faders with a powerful master fader section and 20 custom buttons. So if we just quickly go back to our compact interface, so this picture, this has actually got 16 faders here. Now, if you're getting 13 faders, on the original Wing console, you had a block of 12, a block of 8, and a block of 4, which, you can use as 3 different sections. You've got your actual inputs, you could have your DCAs, and then you could have your main section as well. I wonder with 13 faders, if they might do like a block of 8 and a block of 4 to give you 12, and then a single master fader on the end to give you your 13. And that's going to be comprised as part of this powerful master fader section that they're talking about here. See that powerful master fader section. And then the rest of this is all fairly standard, but you've got all the stuff that you expect to see on the Wing. 3 AS50 ports for 144 input and output signals. I mean, that's just insane in either a compact surface that fits on top of a rack unit or an actual rack unit that just fits and just is the tidiest tiny little situation. You've got your 16 true stereo effects processing engines. This is all incredible things. And one thing to pay attention to is it's 2024. And it's almost the end of 2024. And the Wing came out in 2019. And I remember there were a few issues at the time with things like some of the touch screens had issues. There was sometimes ghosting, ghost touches that would happen and things like that. But I feel like 5 years down the road, I would say all of these little niggles and little things like that are going to be well and truly ironed out. And you're going to be looking at a really rock solid interface and unit here as well. So I want to move to look, it says 19-inch rack mountable in 3 positions. So I mean, I'm guessing that's completely horizontal, some kind of angle, and then a vertical option as well for those kind of like install jobs that sometimes you see in different theaters and just places where they need that kind of access. But this is, so I actually pulled this as a proper screenshot. Now, I'm going to blur out the price just now because I'm going to keep that for the very end. I want to go straight to this here. So this really grabbed my attention, being the very first bullet point. It says 4 additional phones outputs for high performance headphone amplifiers for IEM applications. So they've built into the rack unit an actual headphone amp with 4 stereo. I'm guessing they're going to be stereo because phones outputs are always stereo. That's insane. So if you couple that with your, so you've got your 24 mic pre's. Well, okay, let's look at my use case situation here. Most of the bands that I mix for are wedding bands and party bands and those kind of situations. Generally speaking, I never need more than 16 or 18 actual physical inputs. So to have 24 built into the Surface, that's brilliant. That's a lot of flexibility there. But then if you consider the fact that the Behringer ecosystem is already built out with lots of AES-50 stage boxes and different options that give you increasing amounts of channel options. You can use them as drop points for keeping your wiring a lot cleaner as well. That's a different situation. But this rack unit, you could very much just buy and not need anything else because it also says, let me see, where did it say? Yeah, 8 outputs provide industry reference sound quality. So eight outputs, I'm gonna guess they're on XLR. 8 XLR outputs give you 4 stereo in-ear monitor options if you want to use it like that. Now, obviously, that is also your 8 outputs to provide your front of house PA, things like that. So it depends on how you're using these things. But with those 8 outputs and the 4 additional phones outputs, that's 8 musicians that can all have stereo in-ear monitors. 4 of them can be wireless, 4 of them can be wired for backline musicians who don't do a lot of movement. I'm thinking drums, bass, guitar, keys, those guys. And then up front, you can have brass, 2 vocals, lots of combinations. This is going to be a really powerful thing. And it's getting me really excited considering what I've been used to with the PreSonus Studio Live. I've never had a problem. I love, 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 love the Studio Live, the 32R. I've always enjoyed the fact that it's such a compact solution as well. 32 channels and 16 auxiliary outputs. Plus, with the Studio Live, it's 16 auxiliary outputs and also 2 outputs on XLR for your mains. So you never had to give up any of your auxiliary outputs to feed your mains, which is quite nice. But the thing is here, you've got those 8 main outputs plus your 4, but all you need to do is buy a little SD8 and you've instantly doubled your physical XLR outputs for another situation. So you could have your, SD8 feed in your monitor rack rig, and then it can be more kind of easily ready for fly situations and things like that. There's so many options. And obviously now with the Midas D range of the Stage Connect. Yeah, Stage Connect. There are a lot of options and things that you can do. Man, I'm getting too excited here. Okay. So I wanted to do this quickly just to show you because it blows my mind that this seems to have gone rather under the radar. This isn't being talked about as much as I thought, but I've found through lots of Googling and things like that that this rack unit is supposed to come out around December. So Behringer, if you're watching this, if any chance at all you might see this video, I would love to be on the list of whatever people that you have on a list to be able to get one of these units, either the rack or the compact or both if you're so generous. But I would love to have the opportunity to put this to the test against my PreSonus Studio Live 32R, which is tried and tested at this point in time. I've used it for eight years, and it's never failed me once. I'd love to use this and test this and review this on this channel. Now, I'm gonna show you one last thing, guys, because this blew my face off. Okay, firstly, when I bought my 32R, the Studio Live from PreSonus, I bought it from Gear for Music in the UK, and it was a crazy deal. I can't remember how I got it for this price, but it was £799 for the 32R, not a 16R, not a 24R, the big boy, the best of the best as far as rack units are concerned. And now that bad boy retails at 1,500, and I've seen it even more expensive than that. And this website accidentally put this price. Now, if this actually ends up being the price, these things are going to be backlogged for months. 1,232 Great British pounds. That is an incredible deal for a compact rack interface with an actual touchscreen interface built into it. And that's another thing, the PreSonus Studio Live has no interface built in. The only thing that you can actually do on the hardware is mute all of your inputs so that you don't get any kind of like feedback and things like that. If you ever have an issue, you can just do a quick hard mute, and it's really awkward. And I've had to do that before, just because somebody plugged something in and they weren't thinking about it. But this is a 4U rack interface that has a touchscreen built in. And also, not just a touchscreen, but if we go back, custom knobs in buttons that you can actually assign to different things. Look, you've got buttons specifically for the inputs or your buses, your mains or your matrix, DCAs and mutes, trans and CC. I'm not sure what that means. Anyone know what that means? Put it in the comments. But this is a really, really powerful interface right here. And for my workflow, I'd probably be drawn to the rack unit more because I'm always wandering about on an iPad. I can see how a lot of people will like a compact because having those physical faders is just incredible. And the thing is, once you've got the brain, you can buy lots of stage boxes to use as drop points around your stage so that you're keeping really clean cabling. But for me, I quite like the rack unit idea. But that being said, I went compact with those faders because those faders are really good, and having that reliability there, because something will eventually happen, a router will break, and it'll be a problem. Man, this is very exciting. What do you think? Tell me in the comments below. Are you excited about this? Is this something that you like the look of? Finally, one last thing that I wanted to mention briefly is, for the longest time, there has been very hush whispers about the idea of a core, a Behringer wing core. And if you look at the Midas M32 range, they've got the M32 desk, they've got the M32 rack, and they've also got the M32C, which is a 1U rack version of just the brain of the actual M32 interface. And then it allows you to have all this expandability, and you can build your system out to be whatever you want it to be. There's rumors of a core version of the wing as well, but I think they're not teasing that because that requires a lot more development, because you need to really squeeze a lot into a tiny space if you're not going to offer any controls or things like that on the actual surface. But there we are. I don't know who accidentally put that web page up on that music retailer, but they somehow managed to leak the 100% confirmed specs of both the new Behringer Wing Compact, which is said to be coming late spring, perhaps around Easter time, and the rack unit, which is supposed to be coming around Christmas time. So you can be sure that one way or the other, I will be reviewing it on this channel. Behringer, if you're watching, I would love the opportunity to collaborate. I would be very blessed and humbled if you chose me to be one of the people that gets to review this product. If not, I will be fighting tooth and nail to buy one of these and get it on my channel so that I can unbox it, check it out, and do all the things with it. So for now, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed watching this rambly video of mine and my thoughts, my conspiratorial messages. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next one. Bye.